Good afternoon. Welcome to Consumpayul Choin. Today we have, again, a teaching by Jetsunma Ahkon. This teaching was given in 2009, and the title is Rest Your Mind in the Now. And so we'll begin.
So today is a little bit special because we have some ground to cover. We're going to talk about some very basic and very fundamental teachings that His Holiness gave over the last 2 years of his life. And he would give this simple teaching again and again in different ways. Sometimes we get lost and forget what the point of life is, and how essential it is to walk the road of spirit, the road of path, the road of Dharma, and to also think about the qualities that you are developing so that in one's next life there will be some benefit. Because that's the only thing that you get to take with you, and that is your qualities. When you die, you can't take $1 with you. The saying is not even so much as a sesame seed. But what we have accomplished over our life, the habitual tendencies that we have, whatever generosity that we have offered, this does carry over into the next life. And with enough of that kind of practice, we can be assured that the next life will be a higher rebirth, meaning that we will not be born in the lower realms that are filled with such extreme suffering, that we will be born hopefully again as a human so that we can practice the Dharma very clearly and then move on to the realms of the Bodhisattvas, because that's the roadmap. So everything that we do every day is important and it matters. You matter so much as part of the collective. What you do to benefit others, what you do to counteract your own poisons, and we all have them, hatred, greed, ignorance, anger, what you do offers to and improves the entire collective. And what you do not only matters for the entire collective, but you are also ensuring your own happiness. As we all know that constantly revolving in non-virtue and committing non-virtuous acts, causing harm to others, we may have some concept that there's a reason for that. But the fact of the matter is we are only producing more suffering, not only in the person that we are harming, but in ourselves as well. Because that causing harm then begins to stimulate the law of karma. Cause and effect. And we all know cause and effect exists. I mean, if I drop this, it's going to fall. That, cause, effect, very simple. We see cause and effect in our ordinary lives. If I run a red light, I'm likely to have a problem. That sort of thing. But what we don't understand is how pervasive that law is. The law of cause and effect is not easily understood in the sense that it should be understood. And that is that cause and effect does not die from moment to moment. In other words, if you slap somebody and they don't slap you back, that doesn't mean the karma's finished. You will have your slap someday. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your lives. That's a quote from a movie. Yeah. So, karma, cause and effect is something that we must come to understand and must learn. Of course, His Holiness has spoken about that. He wished for us to understand that we are now experiencing the conditions that were caused previously. In America, we have the idea that everything is out there. God is out there. You know, happiness is out there, trouble's out there, and it's all happening to me. And of course, that right there is a dualistic kind of perception. And we can't anyway take responsibility for anything that happens if we think stuff is just happening. We must come to understand that these are cause and effect relationships playing out. In fact, the Buddha has taught that when you create a cause, the result arises at the same exact instant. Now, we're not at that place yet because we perceive in a linear way. But that cause, that result, is waiting. And when you come to that road, that result will ripen. It will be there. And because you don't remember the cause, you'll think, stuff is happening to me. Why is that? So this is one of the important things that Buddhism teaches us, and that's how to live. How to live. It shows us that if we create harm, we will experience harm. If we create good, we will experience good. If we are helpful to others, we will experience others being helpful toward us. I myself have known that to be true, and that is that my whole life, wherever I go, I do my little birdie things, you know. I put up bird houses and bird feeders, and my birds have some great houses. They're stylish. I even have one with a little white picket fence around it. Because I care for my little feathered friends, and I want to make sure that they are cared for. It's difficult for them, especially in the cold weather. And I put up feed for them and spend about 20% of my income on it. And I do truly believe that this is why I have never been without a wonderful place to live and kind people around me. I've never gone hungry. And there is nothing in my bank account that can account for that. But it's the truth. And I pass that on to you. If you're having this problem where you are chronically poor, chronically without a home, chronically this and chronically that, fix it at the root. And that, you know, not by running around trying to find yet another house or yet another situation. That's acting as though everything is out there. What needs to change is in here. We are experiencing our own lack of generosity and kindness reflected on the world is reflecting that to us. And if we understand that, we can say, thank you, that is an empowerment. Now I see that I must change and be more kind, more caring, more aware of the suffering of other sentient beings. But of course, the ordinary point of view that we generally have is, oh, I'm screwed again. I basically need to go and make some money or borrow some money and find some money and find a house and hope this works out and ask somebody to help me, and that's the dance that we do. But without fixing the cause, the result will move around, but it will never change. Never. And so I tell people again and again, poor, give away your money. Hungry, feed somebody. Thirsty, offer a drink. lonely, be a friend, a real friend. And that's what we don't understand. We keep thinking these things are happening to us. And now we come to what His Holiness has been teaching us for the last few years. I've heard tell, and actually seen it, that when His Holiness would invite the senior students in for an audience, consultation, basically in the last couple of years it's been try not to conceptualize so much. How easy does that, if your great guru, this Maha Buddha, Mahasiddha Buddha, says to you, try not to conceptualize so much. Oh, all right. I was going to climb that mountain, and up in the Himalayas and ask the secret, but that's it, I guess. And the strange thing is, that is it, if you really understand it. Let's look at it. The Buddha tells us that we are constantly revolving in samsara and that we are suffering constantly. He said that we are suffering from desire. What's that mean? If you walk across the street and you get hit by a car, I'm suffering from car. So what does that mean? If I fall down and break a leg, I'm suffering from ouch. So what does that mean? Due to having so many desires, all we do is spin in reaction. I react to this, I react to that. When I see somebody, I think about, do I like the hair or not? Do I like the dress? It's all reaction. What energy does that person give me? What do I feel? That's reaction too. More subtle, but it's reaction. And so that's where our minds, when we are filled with desire, it's reaction, 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 reaction. And each reaction keeps the spinning wheel of karma, cause and effect going. Because our reactions have their own result. The Buddha said we are suffering from desire because even if, say, you get hit with a car and you're laid up for a month, there's more than one way to experience that. Some people will say, oh, I'm really in trouble, I can't get out of bed and I love to work and I just want to do stuff. I really want to do stuff. And here I am laid up and, oh, poor me, I'm missing work and I'm poor and nobody comes to see me and I can't get up and cook my breakfast and blah, blah, blah. That's what we think. That's the kind of mindset that we normally go to. But with training and with some understanding, we could say, this event happened. What can I gather from this event? Maybe there was some karma between me and the driver. I don't know the driver. I never met the driver. But it must be something in the past has ripened at this juncture. So we can think like that. And then, of course, you have to go through the discomfort of getting your legs set and all of that stuff. And the temptation is to hang out with the happy pills, But another way of experiencing that is to take that time for retreat, to go deeply into your own practice. You can't dance. You might as well do it. But we don't, we waste our time. So the best thing to do is to use that time to make yourself, to change yourself. Decide that that is a pivotal moment. Karma has smacked you in the rear end, and you're going to look at it. Do your practice, you start fighting your poisons, you become the Dharma warrior that we should be every day of our lives. And what stimulated that? It was the car hitting us. So the car hitting us could either be a terrible thing that happened to us, or it can be a deep and profound empowerment and blessing. Our lives are like that. We fall. We rise up to certain pinnacles, and then we fall. And, we can't see how we got there. But it's kind of like that. At one point you feel like you're really doing well, and you're up there, and at another point, everything crashes down. While in fact, nothing's actually changed other than you. So it may seem that things are crashing up and down, but it's you and your reaction that is constantly flowing around, moving around. As a practitioner, you have the opportunity to examine your mind, to examine how perception happens, how it is that we perceive that car out there crashing into us. In truth, we are taught that essentially all phenomena is the display of the great bodhicitta, or the great compassion, which could be considered the first emanation from the voidness of emptiness. The first emanation from our own primordial nature. That is the great bodhicitta. The great bodhicitta now appears in our world as all sorts of phenomena. In a place like this, it's easy to see. You can see people that try to care for one another. At least you're not beating each other up, that I can tell. You see things around you that are supports for your meditation. We have the great sand mandala there, tremendous support for our meditation. The wonderful images of all the Buddhas, the very books of Dharma, the many crystals around us, these are all supports. Walk around outside, we have the stupa, and that's a support. But it's a support for our practice. It's not an external deity of any kind. So we must always come back to that inner, profound, primordial nature that is our nature. His Holiness said, then, don't conceptualize. But when you see everything as outside, it's impossible not to do that. When a great Buddha like that says, don't conceptualize, you have to figure out what he's really saying. Because an ordinary person would think, oh, I'm supposed to suppress my feelings and thoughts. That's not it at all. The other side of it, of course, is that some of you have taken Dzogchen practices, and you have begun or in the midst of Trekchot or Togyel, or one of the practices that moves you in the proper direction. But even for these advanced practitioners, you see them walking around still having the same kind of interactive through reaction phenomena. We're still dualistic. We do the practice and it works when it works. But then we go out and we're still conceptualizing. How is that, and what does one do about it? Even if you have never had the most profound Dzogchen teachings, you have at least had some teachings, I know I've given them, on simple meditation. So simple meditation is where there's many different ways to do it. As you know, you can just calmly relax the entire body and then close your eyes and then breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 1, breathe out for 4 counts until you establish a nice, gentle, rhythmic breathing. And then you let your attention simply rest on that breathing. Only observe. If your mind wanders off till you left the cookies in the oven, bring it back. Throw it away. Take it and throw it away if you can. Use some visualization. Drop it. If you're thinking, I got to get out of here in 10 minutes because, drop it. The goal is to observe the breath and allow the mind to rest That develops spaciousness in the mind. Another way to meditate like that is to put a candle or a statue or image of the Buddha in front and let the mind simply rest on the candle, its nature, its flickering. Just observe peacefully. Let the mind actually rest on the flame, like a gossamer wing, just there, like the wing of a butterfly, that delicate. Or if you're imaging the Buddha, you start maybe with noticing the hand positions, the colors, the eyes, and you begin to notice maybe one specific thing, and maybe you pick the point on the Buddha's head right there, and you let your mind go there. Just rest on that point. If it goes to the past, throw it out. If it goes to the future, cut it. The trick is to remain in the now, because the now is where the point of power is. This is where the bodhicitta displays into phenomena. Here. Now. This moment. This place. What happened 5 minutes ago isn't happening now. What happened 10 minutes ago isn't happening now. And as you know, the future is not here yet. Although to some people they can't tell that because they have planned out the future and they have so much tension and angst about the future. The mind is busy. And they don't realize they're thinking about what if. And it's a very neurotic process because the mind is never clear. And when you're doing that, rushing to the future while it's not here, where is your nature? What has happened? Where is the bodhicitta? Where is the point of power? Nothing is happening. You are conceptualizing because you cannot know the future yet. Does that mean that you don't make plans? Well, of course not. Of course not. That's ridiculous. But even within making plans, if the mind is already trained and is continuing to train to be spacious and relaxed, dismiss the future and let the past go and remain in the present moment. Remain in the present. That's your point of power. If you are conceptualizing to the degree that you live in the past trying to rewrite it, which people do, in order to make it more pleasing, or if you're stuck in the future, and people do that because they're always planning, always conceptualizing, always running the game, you will never give rise to the bodhicitta. Never. You will never truly have compassion because you cannot see what is right in front of you. That's how you can love. You can't love if you're hung in the past. You can't love if you're strung out on the future. The point of power is in the present. This is where the bodhicitta is arising. This is where your nature can be understood. You will never come to know the qualities and nature of your own mind if you are obsessed with either direction. So the point of meditation, whether it's at the beginning stage of like shunyata or vipassana, any of those early meditations, the point of that, and then also the point of the later Dzogchen practices, is the same. To develop spaciousness in one's mind. Sure, in the more advanced practices, we are specifically working out kinks and things like that. But in truth, that's also what you're doing within early meditation. Because where the mind is all kinked up is where our perception is not pure. It's not here. The mind is just kinked up. And so the same result happens if you center the mind and you allow yourself to rest in the primordial moment of now. I guarantee you that if you can do that, you will feel the bodhicitta. You will feel love. If you are able to remain in the now and practice as the gurus have taught us to, this is how you can give rise to compassion. This is how you can know the nature of your mind. They're really, even though there are many methods, they all come to that. So when His Holiness spoke to the most advanced students and said, try not to conceptualize so much, I thought that was so profound. Because we like to walk around with our outfits and think, I'm up there. I do this every day. I've had all these major empowerments, and I'm wearing the robes, and I've had all these teachings that are really hard to pronounce, and so Trek Chod and Togyo and all this stuff, Sa Lung. I've had all these teachings that are so hard to pronounce. Surely now I've made it. And then you walk in all puffed up, to His Holiness, and he says, try not to conceptualize so much. Now, if that ain't comedy, I don't know what is. So it's our job, and it's the one that we forget every moment of every day, because the mind is doing the squirrel thing. Another thing that happens by living in the past or living in the future is that the present is paralyzed. It's ultimately dysfunctional. Impossible to do anything meaningful in the present moment. Impossible to experience even a moment's happiness. Until you center yourself and allow some space to arise in your mind, tamp down or dissipate the reactiveness, leave the past to bury itself, leave the future to occur naturally, and do what you have to do in this present moment, because what you do now, believe it or not, and here's the funny part, influences both the past and the future. Because the point of power is in the present. Now, it's the now, the power of now. As I said, the Buddha taught that when cause arises, result arises spontaneously and simultaneously. They may appear to be separated by time and space, but they arise interdependently, like a seesaw. When you push one end down, the other end's going to go up. So, knowing that, here is what we are offered as the method that is most profound and powerful for each and every one of us. And that is to understand and to use the wisdom that this present moment is the seed of everything. This is where, right here, is where the great bodhicitta displays itself as phenomena. Okay? So if you are alive in this present moment, the bodhicitta, the great compassion, is here. You're not thinking about my sore foot. You're not thinking about this, that, or the other thing. You are perceiving. And when your mind is open like that, without the reaction, without the addiction to the past and the addiction to the future, or the concept of it, because we can't get there early. The concept of it, then we are so dysfunctional in the present moment. And in some people, it's a profound dysfunction. It turns into profound neuroses. It's extremely profound level of neuroses if you're always in the past and always in the future. I'm sure you've met people. If you examine where they're thinking, what they're thinking about, they're driving themselves crazy. You know? How powerless to be obsessed with the past. What can you do? How powerless to be obsessed with the future. You can't make it come any quicker. So in this moment, you only have this moment. Be here now. Be centered in that moment. Know the power of that moment. Don't go anywhere. Let the mind have spaciousness. Let the mind rest. And as it does, your own perception will begin to open up, things you never saw. I don't know how many times I have had people say they'd gone through a room and something major was in the room. Oh, I didn't notice it. You know, I didn't see that. Or I never would have thought. You're right. You never would have thought because you're somewhere else. You have to see in this present moment, and the way to do that is to have your mind be present here and opened and spacious and relaxed. I'm actually pretty good at that. I can go into a room and I can see it and I'll be able to tell you pretty much everything that's there. I don't think I'm any smarter than, I don't know, a rabbit. But I do see. I do see. I am concerned with the now. I let the now unfold. And I participate in that by being present. The jumble in the head ends that way. Because that's what the jumble in the head is. So whatever level you're at, I truly recommend that you have daily meditation. Daily meditation. And if you can do it earlier in the day, it's better. Because it's helpful throughout the entire day. Just to be there and be present and sit. Pure sitting. To meditate, as I mentioned before. Or to practice Togyal or Trekchö, to do that earlier in the day. And allow the mind to be awake and relaxed. Makes so much difference. And that's the way it happens. We could sit here and talk about it all day. I could explain it to you all day. But this truth is experiential. You may listen to me and say, sounds good. She's probably right. Or maybe not. But until you sit down and actually feel this for yourself, until you feel the difference in your perception, you'll never know. So the ball is now in your court. The great beauty of Buddhism is that you always learn that the ball is in your court. Buddhism doesn't ask you to believe in something in the future, some blessing, some reward, or somebody up in the sky with checks and X's, you know. Bad. We don't have like that. We're more like that it's difficult to really and truly see and to understand cause and effect relationships when we walk through the world. So Buddhism is like a method Let's say walking through the world is like walking through a dark room. Perfectly dark, no shred of light, and there's furniture in the room, and maybe a dog or two, and a cat, and you have to make it from one end of the room to the other without falling over and stepping on the cat and kicking the dog and that kind of thing. And there's the furniture, you have to get through it. You don't even have any idea what's in the room. Buddhism is like, other religions often say, if you say, I believe, and have total faith, like blind faith, that you'll be able to walk through that black room and not hit anything. Or, actually, they don't talk too much about walking through the black room. They talk, when you get to the other side, you'll still be in one piece. Buddhism doesn't say that. Buddhism said, here is a method. Bing, turn the light on. It's a miracle. Now I see the dogs, I see the cat, I see there's something I have to climb over, I see there's something I have to go around, I see there's something I have to go under, because I am present. And Buddhism teaches you how to move through life in such a way as to create benefit and not harm. And that's the basis of Buddhism, bottom line. So now I've got to move on to talking about briefly the two pillars of Buddhism. There are two basic pillars of the Buddhist teachings, two basic understandings that we must accomplish, and they sound very simple, but they are more elaborate than that. We are taught that wisdom and compassion. These are the two legs of Dharma. Wisdom and compassion. Okay, so I'll practice compassion and I'll be very wise. Not so. First, you must learn what wisdom is. What wisdom is not is ordinary intelligence. Ordinary intelligence gives me the ability to count the seats in this room. Wisdom helps me to see their nature. Okay? Their true nature. You can go to school and get that degree piled higher and deeper. You know that one? Which makes you a doctor. And once you are a doctor, you know everything. That's knowledge. That is not wisdom. Some of the least wise people I have ever seen are the most profoundly educated. And because the training teaches you that kind of knowledge, it does not teach you wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is the awareness of the primordial, empty nature. That self-nature is inherently empty. How does that fly? Okay, let's say I like Linda. I like her a lot. Where is Linda? She's right there. No, but where is Linda? Which part? Which part is Linda? Do I like her eyes? Yeah. Do I like... You go through this process. Where's Linda? What in that is Linda? When she speaks, do I like it? When the way she wears her hair, do I like it? The way she walks? These are all parts of Linda. But when I look at Linda, what do I like? Now, the Buddha teaches us the way to think about that is to say, now this sounds gross, but it's pretend. We're not going to really do it. Take Linda and you slice her up. Then, go through it all, find her. Where is she? Which part is Linda? And so thinking along those lines is how we begin to apply that to ourselves, and we begin to understand that we are not this. That we are some profound nature which cannot be described by these words and cannot be found in this body and cannot be contained by this phenomena. So, we are then experiencing ourselves as me and you, us and them, all that dualistic thinking. And that's based on the knowledge that we were given from our society, from our schools, from our parents. What we were not given is that wisdom to have true perception, pure perception. Because if you're somebody else, I'm either going to like you or not like you. If you're somebody else, I'm going to look at you and say, he's slightly weird. If you're separate from me, I'm going to say, well, what's she all about? And that's not love. There's no love there. Supposing I were to just take responsibility for the fact that my perception is my job and my mind. Relax my mind, be here in the present moment, and you feel the bodhicitta. You feel peace. Peace. The thing we're all scurrying around for. And you can't get it by scurrying around. So that is our nature. And let's say we are naturally and truly and primordially empty of self-nature. This is a dream. This is a delusion. I am not separate from you. You use me now as the teacher and you say, oh, holy teacher, I aspire to be like you. And that's because, is that because I'm better than you? Don't answer that. No. Is that because I'm higher to, well, yeah, in the chair. I'm sitting on this throne. But there's no difference between us. Our nature is the same. That's why it's important to me that you are happy and that you are liberated and that you begin to understand. And so in the Buddha Dharma, we rely on our teachers to teach us that, and so they show us something of the nature of our own mind. But in the end, it's not all about adoring the teacher. It's about adoring the guru within, knowing the guru within, being present with and as the guru within. That's how we learn to love. Now, so the other part, we have the wisdom, which is not necessarily knowledge. And then we have the bodhicitta, which is compassion, extraordinary compassion. Not like the way one person thinks, I feel sorry for you. It's not like that. Compassion is total acceptance, like radiance. If the sun is the primordial nature, then the rays of the sun, the warmth, the emanation, that is the bodhicitta, if you want to use that image. It's a good one for starters. And along with that image, you can understand that the sun, it's the earth that turns, the sun doesn't go away. And so we have that same understanding about ourselves. If we lose our centeredness has not changed. If we lose our awareness of compassion, compassion has not changed. Understand then where the dysfunction comes from. So with compassion, we think, well, what is compassion? Well, let's say you all are getting hungry and I decide I'm going to make you all sandwiches. Wasn't that nice of me? Isn't that nice? I'm going to make like 100 sandwiches here, and we're all going to eat because you were hungry and I did that for you. Yeah. Is that the bodhicitta? No. Let's say I were the wealthiest person imaginable, and I looked at third world countries and I looked at places in America, and to my astonishment, I find out that people are hungry. They don't have enough food. Women are being abused. All these terrible things are happening. Let's say I have so much money that I can feed everybody for the rest of their lives. Whoa. Let's say I have so much money that I can educate people not to hurt each other and to think of each other as equal. Let's say I have that kind of money. Let's say I can go to places where people are cold and I can give them warmth. I can put them in houses. I can fix up New Orleans. I can do it all. I've got that kind of money. Is that the great bodhicitta? Not really. It is human kindness. Human kindness. It is an aspect of bodhicitta. You can't have the full Monty without the human kindness. You have to understand that bodhicitta is not just a theory. So yes, we have to do ordinary human kindness. What is ordinary human kindness? That is something that you can do through worldly means. Even if you can feed a nation of people till they die, you do that through money, through resources, through networking. These are all worldly means, phenomenally compassionate, but they're all worldly means. Can you, when the people that you have cared for all their lives die, can you follow them into the bardo and liberate them? Can you follow them into their next life to be sure that that life is a beneficial life and a high enough life so that they are free of so much suffering? When my babies were little, I remember the first feeling of having your first child. There's no child like your first child, and they're angels. And I remember holding my little boy in my arms and thinking, so moved by his beauty, thinking, I will never abandon you. I will make sure that you are happy. I will take care of you my whole life. I will give my whole life to take. You know how you get when you've just got a new child. The hormones are going, and you just think, I'll do anything for you. I would do anything for you. And I'm saying this to my own child, and then I realize it's a lie. Not because I wouldn't do that, but because I can't. I can feed my baby really well and take care of him really well and provide for him and educate him and do all those things. But if he were to die next week, there's not a damn thing I could do about it. If he were to die in 10 years, or even in 20 years, I will not have been able to keep my promise. I will not have been able to protect him and care for him outside the binders of this life. And so what we do is we learn to do POA, which is the transference of consciousness after death into a blissful state. That is one of our practices. And so as a Lhama, it's the thing I get asked to do most. I do POA all the time. For cats, for dogs, for people. That's when I hear from you guys. Please do POA for this person or that person. I do a lot of POA. And in POA, you capture the person as they enter into the bardo before their consciousness goes into a dull, unaware state. You capture them and you liberate them by moving them to what we call Dewa-chen, or bliss. So you transfer consciousness from death or darkness to bliss. That is a practice in Buddhism. Many of you have learned the practice. You haven't gotten really good at it yet, but you've learned the practice. Now I can finally keep that commitment. When I look at my children, I say, well, you better die first. Because I want to keep my commitment. No, I don't say that. But I know that I've developed that capacity, that if I look at a beloved who is dying, I can say to them, I'm here for you. And I can follow them and I can deliver them. When my little Ewok died, it was like that. My little boy, my doggy. He died, and he was so devoted to me that I began to do the poa, and I went into the bardo, and I could see him in a sleeping state. Not really asleep, but like dull. He wasn't roused yet. He didn't know what had happened. Did not understand. Animals don't understand death, especially if it's sudden. And so he was there, and I called to him, and because we were so close, and still are, so close, he jumped directly into my heart chakra. The force of our love brought us like bam. And I felt him like I have never felt another sentient being. Never. Because he jumped into my heart. I didn't have to go looking for him. And then we did the rest of the practice, and he was liberated. Nothing will ever make me doubt that. I was able to keep that promise to one loved one, Emaho. That means golly gee in Tibetan. Golly. Yeah, that's the story. And that's what compassion is about. That's what bodhicitta is about. It's about, like, for instance, when we take the refuge in bodhisattva vows, when you take that with a teacher, you should always take that with a teacher. When you take that with a teacher, that means that we have a bond now. And that bond does not end in this lifetime. We will, as surely as we take this vow, we will meet again life after life after life. And together we will travel this journey until we are there. That is the nature of refuge and bodhisattva vow. So it is a bond that does not, unbreakable. Unbreakable. Taking this vow together, you know that we will always be together, and that our intention will be established. And the intention is to be of benefit to all beings. That's the basis of the bodhisattva vow. And the basis of the refuge vow is to realize that basically we are all kind of like sleeping beings in a dream state. We see phenomena as being inherently real, and it's delusional. It's like narcotic. It fixes us with a kind of drunkenness where we see phenomena and it seems so real. When we take refuge, we are taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and the Lhama as the condensed essence of all three. But basically it's the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And the reason why we do that is because we know, we have learned, there is only this dreamlike state in which we are confused and do not understand the nature of reality. We do not understand yet emptiness. We do not understand that we are essentially free of self-nature. We don't understand any of that. So we rely on the teachings of the Buddha, who brought this to the world. We rely on the Dharma, which is the path, the teachings of the Buddha. And we rely on the Sangha, which is the spiritual community, because we support and strengthen one another. And the bond is like we are Vajra brothers and sisters. And the Sangha community should always be that if one of us fails, the rest picks us up. It should always be that if someone needs help, you come to the Sangha for help. You don't avoid the Sangha, you come to the Sangha for help. and the Sangha learns to be kind. And that's how it happens.
Thank you so much for being here today and participating in this teaching. These teachings by Jetsunma are pre-recorded, and they are all archived on YouTube. So you can go back and listen if you want to this one, or you can check out the others if you haven't seen or heard any of them. But they are all there in one form or another. So you can just go to the same place you went to see this one on YouTube. Anyways, one of the things that we offer as Sundays at 1 p.m. we do show them, and Wednesdays at 7:30, usually on the 2nd and the 5th Wednesdays, but that ends up being changed if Khenpo Karze's teachings are shifted around. Khenpo Karze teaches on the other Wednesdays, and he's our resident Khenpo here. He's back from New York retreat, and began teaching this last Wednesday evening. And he teaches in general the 1st, 3rd, and 4th Wednesdays at 7:30. This month he'll be teaching, I think, all of them, because he had to slide one from the beginning. So we're 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is what is coming up, so at 7:30 you can check in with him. In order to watch his teachings, you need to register with KPC, and the easiest way to do that is go to tara.org, T-A-R-A, and tara.org is most people do this on a phone. I learned it's almost, phones drive me crazy. I'm older. So, but anyway, you scan to the bottom of the website there, and there'll be some links, some boxed links, and there's one to website and calendar, and you click on the calendar event, and you can find the things that are happening, the practices. But then there's another one there for Khenpo Karze's teachings. You click on that one, and it will take you to the page on the website where you can register, and then that will take you to a page with the register codes. Those codes are good for a whole month, and so hang on to them if you can, because that will be the links that get you onto the website, or it's a Zoom link. He teaches by Zoom. So if you have questions, you can always email kpc@tara.org and just ask for information, and you'll get an answer. So not to worry. So let's see that we got through the teaching section here. We also have meditations on Saturdays and Sundays at 10 a.m. and they're available to people of any age and any skill set. That's guided meditation and some instruction. The two mornings at 10 a.m. are done live here at KPC or on YouTube. So those are the two locations for that. And there may be in other locations as well. Medicine Buddha we offer in the evenings at 7 p.m. on Facebook. And it's KPC's Facebook page. And it's a very short practice, but very potent. It's prayers through Medicine Buddha for for those who have died, for those who are sick, for those who just need prayers. So a lot of people join in there and make offerings of their prayers and find it to be very helpful. So that's a good place to be on at 7 p.m. every day. Those aren't in person, but they are on Facebook. Soak offerings, we offer, it's a food offering ceremony, and it's every evening, or every day. I'll put it that way. They're at different times. In this case, I would check the calendar because they do change depending on what what's happening and if Jetsunma has special requests. So in general, they are live in person at the temple, or they are on Zoom. And so go check them out. Today is Sunday, and it may be here at the temple, and it may be across the street. I think it'll probably be inside in the prayer room, and I'm just guessing. But there's a thunderstorm that's supposed to be sitting out there, and the preference is to be sitting chanting Buddhists, not sitting ducks. So we'll work on it. Anyway, we'll see. In any case, we also have drum circles live at the Guru Rinpoche statue, which is right at the top of the stairs as you go across the street to the Peace Park. And it's they are Sundays at 11:30 in the morning, Mondays at 6:30 p.m., and Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So that is for rain. Jetsunma has been begging everyone to come and chant the Tara mantra, Om Tare, Tutare, Turi, Soha, and drum and bring rain, so that the all of the species that need it can have it, and we can help bring the planet back together. So that's what we do, and it's a lot of fun. It's a short. It goes for about 45 minutes, maybe, depending on all kinds of factors. But that's where the drumming is right now. If we get into winter and the weather changes, we'll have an indoor location, I'm guessing. But who knows? The drumming is especially good outside, and it's beautiful and it's fun. So that's a lot of the activities, but in general, you can come. You're welcome to KPC every day. Everyone's welcome. Prayer room is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, and it's also the outside is open dawn to dusk. And there's walking trails, meditation gardens, 72 acres in total. Is that right? I think 65 across the street and 7 here. So on this side, and we've got a lot of fun farm animals that are just delightful for petting, for loving, and for just getting to know, because they are really different. And Jetsunma is now building these gorgeous duck ponds because we have ducks in her backyard, and these duck ponds are just works of art and waterfalls and very special places, both for the ducks and for meditation. And she's inviting the public to meditate there and to find a place of, just make that one of the special places of refuge. So when you get here, talk to somebody and see if you can get a tour of the duck ponds. There's still a lot of construction going on down there, but oh my, it's becoming quite the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spaces that she creates everywhere else. So in addition, we have lots of activity if you're interested in participating. We have KPC Buddhist Relief is just taking off, like it has taken off like crazy. We're getting more and more and more partners for whom we help raise money, shop, and get what they need to do what they do to benefit beings everywhere. Started out pretty close by, with Montgomery County, and it's moved out into other areas of Maryland and DC. And we're, we've got trucks that do deliveries multiple times a day with literally tons. I mean, the actual, what is it, 2,000 pounds, tons of food being delivered weekly, you know, for all these different places. And it's pretty impressive. So if you want to get involved in that in any way, I mean, you don't have to be the one lifting, but you could. And there's lots of things to do. So come, you know, just check it all out, enjoy it for yourself. And if you're moved and you have the time and energy, be a part of some of the activities. We would love to have you. We'd love to have you here and just be a part of it all. So do so. Otherwise, we'll see you next Sunday at this very time and place for another teaching by Jetsunma. Have a great week.